because that's the core of the scene. Go ahead, say it.
Scene? What the fuck you mean, scene?
Come on, I know you haven't acted much, so I needed to get you into a raw place so we could access those emotions. Okay, do it again, same energy.
So, is this your daughter or not?
No. What, do you think I would pimp out my own daughter and put her in some twisted Mandingo scenario? Let's go in. She's playing my character's daughter.
Sorry, Floyd. Thanks for making my job so easy.
Whoa, relax. You don't want the director to feel like you want to fuck someone else. I mean, we're not going to be sleeping together on this project, but you don't want to make me feel like it's out of my reach. As a director, I need to feel strong sexual magnetism, man, and big, potent baby-making balls.
Got it. Sorry, boss.
Listen, Floyd, I need you to...
Man, fuck all y'all, man. I'm out. This shit whack.
Oh, whack. What, you don't want the part? Come on, boy, use your heat. Tell an untold story about your people.
Thanks so much for being here, man.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you.
Glad to be here. This is the old Tower Records.
That's right, that's right.
Monumental Tower Records. I got so many memories of being in this place. It's funny because that's where you came in, and this is the geography, and there was the tapes up there. And there were the tapes, and then they went to the DVD or the CDs. I think there was a downstairs, but I remember upstairs was the jazz was in the back. This is cool.
Do you remember a specific album that you bought at the Tower Records?
I mean, so many. I mean, jeez, man. So, man. I remember specifically that when I came and got here. I remember the NWA record I got here. I used to get a lot of records, tapes here, and then CDs here because, you know, this was the place to get. I wasn't like a big, record shopper, but I mean, Tribe record, Low End Theory, I got here, bunch of stuff here. I mean, tons of stuff. But I remember when I started, when I was about 19 or 20, I used to come here a lot to get jazz records. And tapes, and I remember I got this Billie Holiday tape here. I had a fight outside there once. Somebody tried to jump me over there. There was a McDonald's. I don't think the McDonald's over there, but whatever. It sounds like crazy, like back down memory lane.
What happened in the fight? How did the fight start?
Some shit over a girl that I went to high school with. I was at Martin Luther King High School. Whatever, something stupid. We were teenage, nothing. Nobody got hurt. It's when you could actually get into a fight and it wouldn't be all over the internet. You know what I mean? Like it was like, just like a regular fight time.
Right, you'd go home and ice something if that.
Yeah, you get a little black eye or something like that, or you give a black eye, something like that. Not like, like a pounding of the wolves now. Like people don't like it's got to be like a whole thing and you videotape it. It's very violent and all that stuff. Anyway, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, Mike. It's good to see you. Let's talk about White Famous, the character that you're, what?
Yeah, go.
Oh, yeah. The character that you're playing there is the director of this movie. Is it a movie or a TV show he's doing? I don't remember.
It's a movie I'm trying to get him to do.
Right.
And the show is called White Famous. It's starring Pharoah, who's very, very talented. He's from Saturday Night Live, and just an enormous talent. And it's about his sort of journey into figuring out what he'll do and not do to become famous. And the term white famous, which I think is fantastic, especially in the day and age that we're living in right now, because people could protest everything. I can't wait till someone's like offended by the title, but it comes from a Jamie Foxx bit. Jamie Foxx is the executive producer of the show.
He's also in the show as well.
He's in the show too, and he's really funny. Of course, he's really funny. They're similar. They remind me of each other. Jay reminds me of a young Jamie Foxx because they're just like brewing with super talent. But the term white famous came from Jamie Foxx. He said, he had reached a certain amount of fame, but he wanted to become white famous, which is similar like to saying I want to cross over. Like I want super fame. So the show is really just about Jay sort of exploring what he'll do and what he won't do to compromise getting that super fame, AKA becoming white famous. And I'm a director who wants to latch on to this hot, young comedic talent, and I want him to be in my film, and my director's just nuts, and he knows that he's never acted before, so he sets him up into these situations like what you see here, where he has him come in and he thinks he's having a talk, and he tries to sort of trick him into an audition. And it's just really funny. I'm very proud of the show, It premieres Sunday, and it's out there. It's irreverent. It's got a lot of heart. It's very provocative. It's socially and racially provocative, and just provocative across the board. I just love the show. I'm proud of it.
I love the movie that your character is trying to get made, and when they started talking about it, I was like, oh, that's a movie I would watch. I love this idea because usually in TV shows about Hollywood, especially comedies, everything that everybody's working on is a joke.
Right.
And nothing that anybody's making you want to see. Or like you think about Entourage, everything they're making sounds awful.
Right.
Well, in this, it's like the actual pitch is something that could be a really great movie.
Yeah. It's about well, it's not a real band, but it's about a fictional punk rock band in the 80s that was an all-black punk rock band, and the name is Angry Black, which is a stolen reference from the Howard Stern show, because there's a caller who calls up all the time named Angry Black, and I mean, honestly, like, this was the type of show and like the type of job where I looked forward to going to work every single day because the writing was so good. It's the same writer who did Californication. And it's just like, you just want to keep going. Whereas sometimes you're doing a movie or a show and you just want to get it over with. Like, we all just like, the writing was so good and the actors were so good, and it's just
give you so much to chew on and I mean, your character is so big.
He's out there. Yeah. He's out there. He's just fun, and
You base him on any directors that you knew or ever worked with?
I've never worked with anybody like that. You see, it's funny because a lot of times you see a lot of these characters. Well, now with the Harvey Weinstein thing, but
see, actually, when I was watching that, for some reason, when I watched that this morning, I didn't think of it. But I think when I was just watching that now, I was like, oh, this plays a little differently in the moment.
You know what's crazy is because this show is so racially charged, and I mean that in the best way. It's a comedy. There was things that we shot 2 months ago that if we shot it today, like there's one scene. I'll just say this: like, I saw Jay the other day. I was like, "Yo, that scene we were doing in the last episode, you'd have had to kneel in that scene now, because it's just, there's like, the world that we're living in right now is so nuts, and it's so stimulated, no matter what side of the fence you're on, that it's an ever-changing thing. Like, and then like kneeling, like now, if you shot like kneeling 2 weeks ago was a thing, and like this weekend it's like there's some other thing. So I don't know how I got on that, but
got on it because we were talking about your characters.
So I never worked with a really derogatory actor or a really derogatory director. I've never worked with it. Like, a lot of times people are like, well, tell me who's the craziest person you ever worked with, or tell me who's, the hardest. I've never had any experience like that. I really have never had it. Maybe people probably be like, yeah, Rapaport was that fucking guy, but nah.
You're the one in the room, and
I'm
you
the
couldn't
guy that they tell the story. Nah, but I pride myself on being professional, but I've never worked with like that kind of stereotypical producer or stereotypical director. I've never had that. Right. So,
or like they may have been that, but it may not have been around you or anything like that.
I just have never had that. They exist. I don't, like they exist. I just have never had firsthand experience with anything like that, or really. Women here, have more stories to tell about casting couches or sexually, sort of being, harassed or insinuated. But I've never had any of that.
What do you think about, like, since the Weinstein thing happened, this last week and over the weekend, there's been this call for people who work in the entertainment industry to sort of like come out and say something, to have an opinion about Weinstein. What do you think about that?
For people to be sort of incited to come out and have opinion about Weinstein, and I saw something on Twitter where instead of saying I was harassed by my boss, they were saying I was Harvey Weinstein. Listen, at this point, nothing is proven, and I'm not defending him or not, but like the culture that we're living in, the Cam Newton thing, this fucking guy was dragged all around, like it went all his whole life, and in high school he was this, in college he was this, and and then he makes an apology, and then the apology is literally analyzed like a Laurence Olivier performance. Oh, was he sincere? Was he not sincere? Do you believe him? Do you not believe him? As soon as it came out, I saw this guy, Bill Cowher, former coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They show the apology, which in my opinion, whatever your feelings are about what he said or didn't say in Cam Newton thing, the apology was fantastic. in my opinion, it was genuine. It was sincere. As soon as the apology dropped, well, I don't know if that was sincere. I'm like, motherfucker, this isn't the Oscars. Like, you're not giving up opinion on. Like, you have to take what he said at face value.
Right.
He apologized very well, way better than I would have apologized, and a lot of other people that have been in that situation. And you're like questioning the sincerity of his apology, and like, yo, what do you want, man? It's not like that, like, you know, but like that was like the hot story Thursday and Friday, and then like.
Well, it's interesting that we give equal weight to Cam Newton's apology and Harvey Weinstein as we do to the President of the United States and
The
his
fucked up
and
thing
his
about the President of the
proclivities.
United States is that every single thing that he is saying, 99.9% of every single comment is some sort of derogatory statement. I saw a tweet he put up. I'll read the tweet, like, because I saved it because I was like, I thought it was like one of these fake Twitter accounts, but he said about Puerto Rico. This is a real.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about with the video.
No, not when he was shooting baskets with paper towels. That fucking shit.
No,
And this motherfucker's from New York. You know, the thing about, like, I feel like when I'm in New York, I get even more riled up about it because I'm like, this motherfucker is from New York, and you know, like, I know New York is. I'm not Mr. Politics, historically a Democratic city. He could have been a Democratic to the third degree. He wouldn't have voted him because we know what the fuck his deal is. We've seen him out chasing skirt. We've watched him on New York 1. We know what the fuck his deal is. He's like, talk about the old Tower Records here. At the old New York, he's the 3-card Monte player. That's what he is. He's the dude 3-card Monte, and Mike Pence is like, I just put down 10, and Mike Pence is in on it, and like, this guy's getting his money taken away. That's what the fuck Donald Trump is. But he said, this is a true thing he said. I was like, this has to be fake. He said, nobody could have done what I've done for Puerto Rico with so little appreciation, so much work. I'm like, this is how you talk to people when they're down, like, and you're patting yourself on your back about doing basic shit that you're supposed to do as a president, like,
Which he didn't do.
And then he's like, nobody could have done what I've done it's embarrassing to me that he's from this city. It's embarrassing that he's everything bad. And like, the crazy thing is, somehow or another, there's people in the rest of the country that are co-signing this shit as if like this is like the bad New Yorker. And it's like he's like the bad representation of New York. He's the 3-card Monte dude.
Well, it's so weird because going into the election, everyone, I don't want to say these people, but people who vote
The
for him say
Showtime
something.
press person, she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you're just supposed to be here talking about white famous.
No, it's good. We'll get some headlines. It's good. Don't worry. Well, basically, people were saying that, like, everything has gone to the coast, and those people don't pay attention to real America. It's like, no, Donald Trump is the thing on the coast. He is the coastal elite that is grifting the real America as much as he possibly can.
He gives 2 shits about the people. And you know what? In my opinion, this is just my opinion, as much as he's made it clear that he can't stand anybody who's not super white, black, Latino, those are his main people. I think that he looks down upon the people who voted him, white, lower class people, more than anybody. That's just my opinion, that he looks at them, and those are the ones that are sitting there cheering for this fucking guy. Like, I mean,
He's chumps. He sees dollar signs.
Chumps. He sees chumps. I watched that Alabama speech, the whole thing. I just happened to catch it from the beginning. I was amazed. And the crazy shit about it is, I've been up here talking for 6 minutes, 26 seconds, and I'm a little sweaty. This motherfucker talked for an hour and 15 minutes, didn't sweat, didn't take a drink of water. He's a fucking animal. Yo, if you did a show for an hour and 15 minutes, you're sweating, you're like, your throat hurts. This fucking guy could have went over. He's like a savage. And he was like riling up these people in Alabama, and he's talking about, what's his name? Who was the guy?
Roy Moore.
Luther, and he was there.
Luther Strange, yeah.
And the crazy thing is, the guy, he went down there and said, fuck, about Kaepernick, and he said, these sons of bitches. The guy that he went down there to give his pledge for didn't even win.
Yeah.
He didn't even fucking win. But there's just so much shit, and I'm so sort of uneducated in what's going on with history, but you could just feel the bullshit from him.
Oh, yeah.
You could just feel the bullshit, and that's some other New York shit. Like, you're not hustling us, motherfucker.
Well, give a round of applause to that, because we're in New York. I'm curious, you know, you've made an incredible career in the last few years as a sports commentator, both on your podcast and on sports shows. And sports is, for the most part, it's supposed to be, you know, bipartisan. Everybody loves sports. It brings people together. And I'm wondering if after the election you thought to yourself, like, I don't know how much I can wade into the waters of these polarized waters, and then you found something that specifically triggered you and upset you, and you're like, fuck it, I'm all in. Let's call the bullshit where the bullshit is.
For me personally, I've never had any strong opinions, honestly. I don't want to, try to act like I'm Mr. Politics. I'm not Mr. Politics. It's something that, I just never gave that much thought to. I should have given it more thought, and in the future, hopefully, I will give it more thought. I vote with my heart. I don't vote with my taxes. That's just me. I understand some people are like, yo, the taxes and all that. I get that. But for me, like, I just try to get, like, the best people in there. But yeah, this shit, like that word triggered, I wake up triggered. Before this motherfucker came, that's just how I get down. Like, I wake up triggered, like, that's just my thing. Like, I wake up with a chip on my shoulder. And yes, in the last 10 months, this is, like, I've talked a lot of shit on social media. I talk shit here, about the president. I never would have imagined to feel so blatantly, I never imagined that I would speak or think or give a fuck enough to be so blatantly disrespectful towards the president, ever. You're not supposed to, you respect your president. This motherfucker doesn't respect us. His fucking guy, and they're talking to us like we're all dumb. This Mike Pence bozo, the fucking clown, with his shenanigans at the football game yesterday. Like, how many fucking con ruses do you think you're gonna run on motherfuckers? Like, you motherfuckers are living in the 90s without the social media. Yeah. Like, we're 27 years ahead of you, motherfucker. Like, how many con jobs do you think you're gonna run on everybody? It's terrible, man.
Does everybody know that Mike Pence's team told the reporters that go with him to stay in the car because he was going to leave the game early?
Yeah.
Like, he told them he was going to leave.
He went to a football game yesterday, watched the players kneel, then, of course, he didn't speak because that motherfucker doesn't speak. He only puts out things. This is America's leading. No one hates gays and the LGBT community more than Mike Pence. He's the fucking worldwide leader in anti-gay shit. He's like,
conversion therapy.
He's the fucking guy. He's the fucking, like, ESPN's the worldwide leader in sports. He's the fucking worldwide leader in anti-gay shit.
I hope you don't collect checks from ESPN and I put those two together.
No, ESPN, and no, I'm saying that's their term, the worldwide leader in sports. And then he went to the game, watched all the black players kneel, and then he was so offended by it, he left the game. Meanwhile, he put out a tweet. It's just bullshit, man. It's just one thing. It's like that was yesterday, and like today there's more shit. Like, just to keep up the mountains and mountains of fucking nonsense every day is just crazy to me.
Yeah, we'll move on to your book and some other stuff in just a second. But I do want to ask one more question. As someone who loves sports and is a sports commentator, what was it like when the players were taking knees, more players were taking knees? It's a culture war conversation. I'm personally on the sides of the players. I think, of course, not just because they have the freedom of speech, because I believe in what they're standing up for or kneeling for. But what was it like to suddenly have the president wade into those waters and make it even more polarized? It was something.
Well, when he started talking about Steph Curry, I guarantee you, he knows who Steph Curry is now.
But the owners and the players were going to come together on this, it seemed.
No, he brought the people together, except for Jerry Jones. He's another relic, dinosaur white motherfucker. He's gonna
die.
He's gonna be in a natural history museum. Like, they're gonna be like, there used to be white people like this. Like, he's that. You know how they have dinosaurs? Like, he's that shit. Put that motherfucker in the Museum of Natural History. Like, you walk into the building there, they have the dinosaurs. That motherfucker will be there. Like, in 2017, he was the last of the dying, breed of, like, old school racist. Like, he's threatening the play. It's a strong thing, and, like, I talk shit. I work for myself. I meander around, so it's hard. But, like, he threatened the players. If you take a knee, you're not going to play. I wish all those motherfuckers, the white, black, all those motherfuckers would take it and be like, we're not playing then. You get the fuck out of here. But, you know, as far as Donald Trump, like, dipping into the sports shit, you know, if you lined up 5 people in front of Donald Trump before that Steph Curry comment, because that's when he really kind of got into it. It was Cap, get up, you son of a bitch. I mean, this is a president.
That's what really, I mean.
This is literally like, he's talking like me.
Yeah.
Like, he's literally speaking like me, but I'm
That's
just
not a
motherfucker
good thing.
from Manhattan. I'm not the president. Like, we're like, well, we want him. No, I want the president to be so much better than me.
Yes.
Way better than fucking me, for sure.
No, me too. Like, I don't say yeses
You
in
line
terms
up
of, but me too.
him in front of 5 people, he wouldn't know who Steph Curry is. And you notice he didn't respond to Steph Curry, because I guarantee you when he got recon on Steph Curry and he looked at, wait, Steph Curry's got, you know, 30 million people following him as well. I'm going to leave this alone. LeBron called him a bum. And I can't stand LeBron as a basketball player, but when I was like, I was jealous. He said, you bum. And then he's like, well, I can't say anything about, these are beloved people. So we're in complicated, and I don't suggest everybody's got to make their own decision, because there's a lot of people that can't stand Trump. You know, obviously no one is into or supports police brutality, but you might have grown up with military in your family, so you just might not be down with kneeling. That doesn't mean you're not down with the cause, you know, and I get that, and it's a very sort of personal thing. Like, you know, your father could have served. Your father could be, you know, like Shaquille O'Neal, like, you know, he's spoken out about it, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I know military, and his father was a general, and he spoke very, you know, highly, or a sergeant, and he spoke, you know, like that was a big part of his life. So, you know, people, and that doesn't mean he's not down with stuff. So it's a tough thing. Like, but when I go on a set for White Famous and we say action, we don't do the national anthem. So it's easy for me to say and who's saying kneel and not kneel, and it's just it's a very frustrating, complicated time that we're all living in. Hopefully, you know, we won't get into a Twitter beef that starts a world war, because that's looming. That we are, you know, like Twitter beefs usually are like 7th graders, and like maybe they'll beat up a 7th grader, not the fucking, you know, World War IV. World War III from a Twitter beef. Like, we have a president instigating a war on Twitter. Shit's insane. Like, if you put this in a movie, you know how they've had spoofs of like,
Would say
be
no.
like, I was over the top. Like, it would be on Rotten Tomatoes, would be like 14%.
Yeah.
Like, this would be that. So,
Mike,
I
let's
don't
talk
know if
about
my wife is watching this, because she's at home. She's probably like, you're so fucking, she's probably.
I mean, I agree with everything that you're saying, and I think even some of the people that you're talking about, like Shaquille O'Neal, who maybe said himself because of his military history and his family wouldn't necessarily take it.
Shaq is my guy. That's like my big brother.
I'm
But,
sure he
you know,
also.
everybody has different feelings about it.
But
and
I'm
now
sure
the NBA, they can't. Go ahead, sorry.
I'm sure he also respects someone's right
yeah, he does.
to take a knee, because America is the place where you have freedom of speech.
Fuck yeah, he does. Of course he does. Of course he does. It's going to be interesting with the NBA, because you got a lot. The NFL is one thing, and as big as, you know, there's like 5 or 6 guys that you recognize. Some of my favorite players I wouldn't know without their masks on. When you take their masks off, you know, you just don't recognize it, because they're covered. NBA, you're out there, you know, in a tank top, and you're bare, and the NBA has a policy where where they said everybody must stand. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because, you know, guys might start that the first night, but, you know, within a week, it's just the flow of what's going on in this country. Something's going to happen. Trump is going to say something, and people are going to be like, the whole team is like, yo, we're all sitting. You want to cancel the game? You're going to have to change your fucking policy, because they're all friends. It's not like, you know, the NBA players aren't friends. Whether you're on the Knicks or the Oklahoma City Thunder, they all know each other. They text each other, and they're going to be like, yo, we're all kneeling. And then we're going to see what the NBA does. And I'm totally for the NBA, and I love sports. It's a part of my life. I'm a huge fan. It's going to be interesting, but rest assured, something is going to give with the NBA and that policy before within a month of the season. If not, you know, between now, the season starts the 17th. Between now and the 17th, guys might be like, fuck that shit. I'm not standing. I have to, you know, speak out in some way, shape, or form.
Standing is a relatively, we're going to get off this, I'm so sorry, but standing is a relatively new thing, too, in football, I've heard. I've heard that it's in 1999 is when they started sort of asking players to stand for the national anthem. We treat it as this like, you know, century-long
Right,
pastime.
right.
It's actually quite recent that it's been made a rule in the NFL. And one of the reasons that it was also made a rule was around that time, between 99 and 2003, the Pentagon gave money to the NFL
right.
as a purpose of promoting the military, the military in this country, and in 2003, the war effort. So it's like this. It's really strange water we're sort of wading in as to like what it actually means to stand for the anthem in the NFL.
I agree. And you could have nothing but respect for. Obviously, we all respect the people that are serving, whether it's the military, police, firemen, EMT. I'm very I'm very well aware of that myself. If some shit happened to me, the first fucking person I'm gonna call is the cops. All of us would. So, and then the military, these are young kids out there fighting. But I think the things are two separate causes. And, it got people talking, got people thinking. If one thing comes from all this, everybody sort of has contemplated, as opposed to where you just stand up there and wait for the game to start to get your concessions, or if you're a player, what it means to them. And what that time is like, am I standing? Why am I standing? Am I kneeling? Why am I kneeling? So if anything good comes from that, I think it's making people have a little bit more introversion and thought in that 90 seconds, 2 minutes of that anthem, and think about how you're going to approach it when you go to a game or a concert or whatever. So,
well, protesting police brutality isn't anti-police, and kneeling for the anthem isn't anti-military. People just make it that way because they don't want to actually address the substantial problems in the country. Right. Let's talk about your book, man.
All right.
Tell me, your book comes out later this month, right?
The 24th. This book has balls, sports rants from the MVP of talking trash. I wanted to be MVP of talking shit, but they were like, we're not gonna be able to sell your book.
Who has coined you the MVP of talking trash?
I was self-anointed.
Yeah.
Self-anointed, but it's all sports. It's sports, there's a couple of, I love that, I have a fascination and love affair with the Bravo Real Housewives shows, if you could believe it or not.
I believe it.
So, but it's all sports, but like I treat it like a game. So like at halftime, I do I break down the housewives and all that stuff. But it's like 23 reasons why LeBron James will never be like Mike. The irony of Charles Oakley.
Why do you hate LeBron James so much?
As a player.
No, I got that. Sorry. Why do you?
As a player, because it's not personal. Because for me, as a huge basketball fan, like I grew up in this city, dreaming of being an NBA player. And I just love the sport so much, and I'm just such a fan of it. There's just been, I break it down in the book, the 23 reasons why. But it really has nothing to do with sports. It has, his reasons, it's all ironic. The first reason, and this is a fact, is that he shaves his armpits. And I'm like, if you call yourself the king, you can't manscape. It just doesn't, you can't shave your chest hair and your armpit hair and be like the king of Akron or anything. It's just not acceptable. But LeBron, to me, he fucked up the NBA with this big three shit. He started it, and Kevin Durant took it to the next level with the Golden State. And now this season, at the beginning of the NBA season, you have, 3 or 4 big threes. And I really think that it's become, a friends and family thing and a cool kids clique type of thing. And not to say that the players shouldn't have rights, and the players shouldn't have, sort of say on where they should go. But, when you got guys leaving teams in their prime to go with other guys to play on other teams, the NBA is in balance right now. And LeBron, in my opinion, is the catalyst to that. And a bunch of other stuff in terms of basketball. He's also done a lot of stuff for player rights and all that stuff. And he's also the best. One of the things I took...
Good guy.
Yeah. He's a good guy, and he's done way more with his stardom than a lot of stars, a lot of athletes have done. He's been very vocal. Like I said, his anti-Trump stuff has been tip your hat off. There's a lot of stars from New York City that still to this day don't say shit. One of the things that I talk about in the book is what is it called? What do I call it? Oh, mad shaming. So and it's all like in sports, you have to have hate in order to love a team. Like a New York Yankee fan is going to naturally, like a fucking fish in the water, hate a Boston Red Sox fan.
That is not a Red Sox hat, is it?
No,
What's
this
going
is
on
a
there?
Boston hat.
Okay.
I mean a Brooklyn hat, sorry. But the thing with now this culture, there's such a term why are you getting mad or you hating and all that stuff. if you're truly love sports, like I know why a Boston Red Sox fan would hate Derek Jeter. And I appreciate that you hate Derek Jeter. And the only reason why you don't hate any lames, you hate Derek Jeter because he's dope. Just like I'm not going to spend any time on 23 reasons why, so-and-so isn't going to be like Mike. You go for the best. So, if you're the best, it comes with the territory. LeBron just makes it really easy for me.
Have you ever met LeBron?
I talk about it in the book. That's the one thing that got it outside of basketball and a little bit personal is I talk about it in the book. It didn't go good.
It didn't go good. Is he one of the few people that you've talked trash about that you've had to meet in person?
Well, I only really started talking shit about him after I met him in person. He inspired, and I've been around sports, and I've been around actors, and I've been around athletes, and I've been fortunate enough to meet so many people in 20 years. He's the only one that didn't do it right. Oh. And I'll just say, I break it down, but my kids were there. It wasn't cool. So now you got a chapter in my book. Congratulations.
One more thing before we go to questions. You have another show on Netflix right now called Atypical that people are going crazy for. They love this show.
It's a good show. Got picked up for the second season. Proud of it. It's about a dysfunctional family dealing with one of our kids has this autism. And, Jennifer Jason Leigh, the great Jennifer Jason Leigh.
The best.
And I'm really proud of it and excited about it. And I'm fortunate to be working. Fortunate, to have written the book, and I'm looking forward to people digging White Famous this Sunday.
Got a lot going on right now, man.
Been busy, been lucky.
Let's get a couple questions from the audience. What do we got here? Right here.
Hey, Michael. So you got a lot going on as far as like television projects and films as well. I was wondering, what do you look for in a particular role, whether it's for TV or film?
I mean, for TV or film, whatever, I look for just something that has a certain energy. Like for me, it's just about the energy of the character and the sort of arc of the character. And I get most inspired by something, whether Atypical is a very sort of introverted, I wouldn't say repressed, but sort of emotionally repressed character. Whereas the White Famous is the total opposite. So and they're both as fun to play. But also the people you're looking for and what's written on the page, because, especially in television, it's all in the writing, and good writing. It's like if you have a cheeseburger, and the steak is really good, and the beef is really good, and the cheese is really good, and the bun is toasted perfectly. You don't need to put all kind of bells and you can add that stuff to it. But if a really good piece of a really good steak, you shouldn't have to put that much steak sauce on it, because it's just good like that. It's the same thing with a script, you don't have to you want to read it and be like, this is good, and it makes it easy for the actor.
Next question. Right here.
Hi, Michael. I know you just mentioned, but I wanted to say I loved Atypical, and I'm really glad it's getting picked up for a second season. But speaking about this show, it's a great cast. Jay Pharoah, Jamie Foxx. They're hilarious. I wanted to know, what was the atmosphere like on set?
Very funny, very loose. Jay, he kind of will conversate in impressions. He'll do an impression, but it's not like he's doing an impression, but somehow or another, he'll just start talking as Denzel Washington, and it's so good. You're like, what the fuck is going on here? But he'll do weird versions of Denzel Washington, ordering, fried chicken at Kentucky Fried Chicken, but it's like Denzel Washington. Or I remember one day he was doing Biggie Smalls, and I was like, do Biggie Smalls talking to Jay-Z, and he'll just, but so it was just fun. It was good people, everybody looked forward to going to work. So it was just kind of an upbeat thing. And I think comedies in general, if it's good, that kind of, it steers you towards a fun day.
I think we have time for one more, right here.
Hey, Michael. How early on in your career did you know that you wanted to go into acting professionally, and did you think about doing sports professionally at all, too, during that time?
Yeah, I definitely, I grew up wanting to be a basketball player. I grew up right here in Manhattan. And that's what I wanted to do. And I didn't really start thinking about becoming an actor until I realized that I wasn't even close to becoming, I wasn't even going to college for free playing basketball, or I couldn't even, basketball wasn't what I was best at. And I started doing stand-up comedy, and then that led me into acting. But once I did it, once I acted for the first time, and once I read a scene, it came more natural than anything I had done before. Any sport, it just was I knew I was I could do this. And you continue to grow, but I just knew it was something that I was supposed to be doing.
What was your breakthrough role? What do you remember as your breakthrough role?
I don't think I've had my breakthrough role yet, but I mean, obviously, the first thing I got was a movie called Zebrahead that came out in 1993, and it did really good. It won an award at Sundance, and it was produced by Oliver Stone, and a lot of people saw it in a really good reception, and that was sort of how I got my name out there. And and then it was True Romance was good, and Higher Learning, and
Oh yeah, you played a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, that's
well,
right.
you actually in the movie you're sort of becoming one. They kind of recruit you and you become one. Have you thought about that movie at all in the last year as the talk of these sort of these new neo-Nazis has come up and how these kids online have been kind of co-opted.
Yeah.
Their angst has been co-opted into far right wing.
It's been mostly from online. People the connection of that movie Higher Learning. I don't put any of my thought into that character, and for me it was just a great part. Yeah. I remember I said one time I loved playing that part, and people were like, what the fuck are you talking about? You love playing it, but as an actor, as a Jewish white hip hop New York kid to play a neo-Nazi in a movie, that's as an actor, especially when you're oh, fuck, I get to be an actor, I'm going to be the next Robert De Niro or Marlon Brando. You want to go as far as you can. The Charlottesville Tiki Torch neo-Nazis are, I don't even know if I don't know what those guys are, but, I've only been, yeah, I mean, I've only thought about it in regards to people brought it up to me online a lot, Twitter, they'll send me pictures and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. When can people see White Famous? When does it premiere?
White Famous premieres on Showtime the Sunday at 10 p.m. Mm-hmm. I believe there's still 2 episodes online on YouTube, so you could check them out there and you could fall in love with it and continue watching it. It's a dope show. It's funny. It's got heart. It's an escape, but it's very smart. And, I can't wait for people to see it. I'm very proud of it.
And your book comes out?
The 24th of this month.
The 24th of this month?
Yep.
Anything else that we should tell people? Atypical's on Netflix?
White Famous in the book. Atypical's on Netflix, but, you could pre-order the book. I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be in the mix. I'm happy to, be on here at Build, and I'm just, I'm just a dude from New York who, had an idea to do his thing and to be able to be doing it 27 years later. I'm happy and keep moving and grooving and striving and keep pushing forward for me. That's my sole agenda. It's been my sole agenda, and I'm sticking to it.
The great Michael Rapaport, everybody. Let's hear it.